Hey guys and girls, welcome to another Sunday afternoon chat on a pretty chilly Sunday afternoon here in southern Oklahoma on a December 11th. 2 weeks, that's right, 2 weeks till Christmas. 2 weeks from today. I can't hardly wait. I'm excited about it. I haven't done much Christmas shopping. I did buy some stuff for Chris already, but I've already given it to her. So I've got to buy some stuff that I got to give to her on Christmas Eve. That's when we have our Christmas there at our place, and we'll be having Christmas at Sherry and Jack's this year. All the kids, grandkids are going to be out there. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I tell you what, before we start talking about too much about what's going on this week and next week, let's talk about fishing just a little bit. Let's talk about crappie fishing. You know, crappie fishing is fantastic during the wintertime. I mean, it's one of the best things you can do. And if you've got a dock that you can go fish in and around, that's even better, because with a dock, you can get out of the cold. If you've got friends that's got a boat dock, maybe they'll let you come and crappie fish, particularly if you fillet a few crappie and give them some crappie. They'll probably let you do that. But I just now noticed I'm wearing glasses. I've got glasses around my neck. Be prepared. Boy Scout motto, be prepared. I got my truck and didn't have my glasses on, and this is a spare pair that I had there in the truck, and so I put them on, and I've never taken them off, and here they are. So here we are. We got 2 pair of glasses, but just now noticed that. So and the sun's not even shining. The sun's not even shining. I'm going to complain a little bit about the weatherman here in just a minute. I've got good friends that are weathermen in Oklahoma City, but and some of them fish. Some of them are really good fishermen, as a matter of fact, but some of them don't. But crappie fishing is fantastic this time of the year. And the key is finding the depth that the crappie are located. If you've got a good locator, you can find those schools of crappie and you can see them down there. If you don't, you know, one of the best ways to find them is just dropping vertically down, dropping straight down, and dropping all the way to the bottom, and then just moving your bait up about 6 inches and moving your rod tip around, just moving your rod tip around. You don't have to do much jigging or anything. If you want to jig, tip your rod tip down, not up. Don't jerk it up. Tip your rod tip down like such. Just take your rod tip and just tip down. And that'll put the kind of action you want on your bait. When you, I got in the grass right there. But I haven't been catching anything off the dock, by the way. I've been catching a few little bass, and that's about it. No crappie at all. No crappie at all. Now, in most of the lakes around Oklahoma, the crappie have moved to the docks in abundance, and they will get in those docks more. So like I said, if you, and this time of the year, you give just almost nobody on the lake, You just like almost have the lakes to yourself. So it really makes it a great time of the year to go catch a bunch of crappie. But vertically jig, drop it, I've got a little crappie magic on here and a little Lucky Minnow bait on the back of it. One of those jointed, skirted minnow baits is what I've got, which has become one of my favorite trailers. It just really, really works good. But drop that bait all the way down to the bottom, wind it up about 6 inches, move it around. Just move your rod tip around. That's just swimming that bait at that certain depth. Move it up about another 6 inches and do the same. 6 inches to a foot. You can move in 1 foot increments, and that works pretty good until you locate the depth that the fish are located at. And then once you get that depth, really pay attention to how deep that is. Really pay attention. Now, if you've got a good locator where you can see your jig down there, you can look and just see how deep it is. Just drop it down to that same depth again. But of course, if you do that, you're going to be able to see fish down there as well. So that works out pretty well. But crappie fishing right now is dynamite. It's going to be good all winter long. It's a great time to, and the crappie caught out of cold water in the winter, make you slap your brother-in-law away from the table. Some of you probably do that already. By the way, we'll have a lot of stuff on our Jimmy Houston Outdoors Fishing. That's a new fishing channel that we started. You've probably noticed that the fishing has gone away from the channel that was Jimmy Houston Outdoors. We changed that name to Jimmy and Chris Houston's Twin Eagle Ranch. And it's all about ranch stuff. It's become a ranch channel or a farm channel. And what do you want to call it? Ooh, I got a bite right there. Might have been a bluegill. The bluegill are not around the dock hardly much anymore either right now. They've moved out to deeper water. And the crappie normally move in here for the wintertime, but they haven't. I guess because the lake is so low. And we just haven't had any rain. We've had rain forecast. We've had rain forecast a lot this month, and I'll talk about that a little later maybe. But be sure and go and subscribe to Jimmy Houston Outdoors Fishing. Jimmy Houston Outdoors Fishing. That's a separate channel we started about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and it's got fishing on there. That's what it is. Now, we may put a hunt or two on there also, but it's got fishing, because I am planning on doing some duck hunting here between now and the end of the year. A little bit of duck hunting, maybe 1 or 2 days. I'm not really a big duck hunter. I'm not going to be hunting here at the ranch, but I will be duck hunting, hopefully, sometime between now and the first of the year, and maybe even a little bit after the first of the year, But At any rate, we might stick that up on that Jimmy Houston Outdoors channel as well. I'm not sure, but that's where the fishing will be. So you want to see fishing, you want to learn how to become a better fisherman, Jimmy Houston Outdoors Fishing. Go over there and subscribe to that channel right now. Of course, Catch a Better Life channel where we read our daily devotional, another YouTube channel, 3 YouTube channels. So make sure you subscribe to all 3 channels. Chris is having a great week down here this week. She's been here. You ever do this right here? Huh? I'm hung up. Let me show you a great little way to get your bait unhung. It's called a bow and arrow technique, and I'm going to do it just with a T. Bend up like this, snap your rod down. Didn't work. Snap that down like that. Puts a lot of pressure on the end of that bait over there, and a lot of times it comes loose. If that doesn't work, you can actually go clear down to the end of your rod tip, point your rod tip right at it like I'm doing right here, turn loose. That puts even more. Looky there. Look at there. Look at there. I got my bait back. Got my bait back. That little trick right there. It's worth watching the Sunday afternoon chat for, I promise you. Chris has had a great week. She's talking a little bit better all the time. Getting closer to walking. I know I've been saying that for months, guys, and it's been over 20 months, but trust me, she is better by far than she was. Better by far. Whitey is still alive. I won't really talk too much about the deer right now because we've got so many deer videos over on the Twin Eagle Ranch channel. But Whitey's doing fine still. He's still not well. There's no doubt about that, but he's doing good. I'm hoping to be able to get Cade Koppenbarger, my veterinarian, back over here again one time this week to look at him. I do not want to give him a shot and put him down because sometimes you just can't get him back. I just don't want to take a chance in that. So we have been here at the Eagle all this week. We'll be here all again next week, and just Chris and I. We haven't had any help this past week. Probably won't have any help this next week. Just be Chris and I. But can I tell you, we love that. I know I can't get quite as much work done, and I know 16, 18-hour days turn into 20-hour days in order for me to get everything I need done, but it's all worth it. It's all worth it. It really is. There's absolutely no doubt about it. The rut, if those of you that are watching the deer videos, the rut is pretty much in a pause situation right now. The deer were rutting really, really heavily, and it was exciting, fun to watch, and we actually got to see, and we got a video of it. If y'all haven't caught it on, I think this last week's video, maybe the last week's, I don't know, it might have been this week's, but a Prince Charming and split ears actually breeding, and that's pretty unusual to be able to get that video. It's very unusual to get that video of an albino and a brown deer. It's just amazing. A regular white-tailed deer, it's just amazing. But the rut is kind of in a pause period right now. We have got Whitey in with only, I think, 2 or 3 does, 3, I believe. We put the rest of those in with Forrest, so maybe if we don't know if Whitey bred or not, we think maybe he didn't because he was sick, and so we put those does in there. We hope, since they're not bred, if they are not bred, that they will cycle again here later this month, and Whitey will get that job taken care of for us, so we'll have a bunch of babies come springtime. But so the rut is kind of in a pause right now here in southern Oklahoma. It was a really great rut, lots of chasing around. Poor old TC, he just about run himself to death. Our preacher mentioned this morning, last week I talked about saying Merry Christmas as opposed to Happy Holidays. Happy Holidays is a little offensive to me, to be honest with you, because it's not a holiday. We're celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ 2 weeks from today. Celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. It's not a holiday. It's not a holiday at all. And but he mentioned a few. He mentioned a few stores. I won't repeat those stores. He mentioned a few big stores that just will not put Christmas on anything. I even saw something in a car commercial the other day that it said that it's talking to Sirius, or not, maybe not Sirius, but whatever you talk to in your car, and but it says turn on the holiday lights, and the holiday lights came on, and they're not holiday lights, they're Christmas lights. And first time I've ever heard a Christmas light called a holiday light. But when people say Happy Holidays to you, just tell them Merry Christmas back. They'll kind of understand what you're talking about. And those stores, those big chains, those big manufacturing companies that are just so woke, they won't say Merry Christmas. they're just so affronted by Christians. They're so affronted by Jesus Christ, and they hate God so much that they just won't say Merry Christmas. Just be nice to them. Say Merry Christmas back, and you might think about not spending too much money with those stores. I'm not into telling anybody to boycott anything, but I sure wouldn't. I know that I'm not going to spend my money with those people that are saying Happy Holidays. I'll go to the stores that are saying Merry Christmas, because we are celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. Another thing I wanted to mention, talking about this holiday season, my entire life has been a hectic life. I have been just totally busy ever since I was a kid. I cannot remember. I probably would have been a kid these days that they give the drugs to or something to calm them down. I don't know. My parents never did that. I got a few whippings to calm me down, but they weren't to calm me down. They were doing something that I was doing when I was really hyped up. Never took any drugs in my life, so I don't know anything about drugs, and I guess I'm too hyped up without the drugs, so I don't need them. But so I've been busy all my life. But this is the time of the year when it seems like that we just get overwhelmed. It seems like we just got overwhelmed. And, since Chris has got hurt, I've said it many times, it's taken 3 or 4 of us to do Chris's job. Sherry's doing the majority of it. Mandy's doing a lot of it. I'm doing a little bit of it, and we still can't get it done. And doing my work and taking care of Chris and trying to do part of her work at the same time takes some extremely long days and just really, really hectic, busy schedule. But this time of the year is even worse. And I just want to give you a little hint here. If you're not careful, you'll find yourself leaving God out of your day. You'll find yourself leaving God out of your week. You'll find yourself leaving God out of your plans. You'll find yourself talking to God a little bit less than you normally might do. So what I'm saying is, here's what you might want to do when you say your prayers tonight. And pretty much everybody, when they lay their head down, if they talk to God at all, they talk to God right then. I talk to God every single night. Even if somehow I've failed to talk to God throughout the day, which doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. I still talk to God at night, and the first thing I do is apologize for not talking to him all day long. God wants us talking to him. He wants us talking to him. He wants to be involved. He wants to be involved in everything that you're doing this Christmas. He wants to be involved in you going to the store and buying those presents. He wants to be involved in all that baking, all that holiday planning, all of trying to scrape up enough money to buy an airplane ticket for your kids to come home for Christmas, and all of that stuff. God wants to be involved in all of it. So, but here's a little tip that you might do. Ask God when you pray tonight or pray today or this afternoon. Right now would be a good time to do it. Ask God to give you little hints to think about him throughout the day, whatever that might be. And God will do that. Ask God to help you remember him during this busy time of the year. Because I'm telling you, I've seen people just get so hectic they want to pull their hair out. And we just get too busy this time of the year. A lot of us are too busy 365 days a year. I'm guilty. I'll admit that. But if you will ask God to help you, it's amazing the things that you fall short in that God wants you to do in your life to glorify and to praise and to put a smile on his heart. If you will ask him to help you with those things, he will. He will. That's what God's all about. So ask God to help you remember him during this busy time during the day. And while you're driving along, some little something will pop into your mind, and just take a few seconds out and say a silent prayer or pray out loud, however way you want. I sometimes will go up on the mountaintop, or when I drive back through the front gates at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning after I've been somewhere, I just get out and look at the stars and start praising God and praising out loud. Just me and God and this mountain. I mean, it's me and God and it. That's just it. But but say a little prayer when God puts that in your mind to remember him. And God, you're glorifying God when you do that, and he likes that. And he'll reward you for that. That's the other part of it. You don't do it to get rewarded, but he'll reward it for you. The other thing, I want to close this thing out, and I didn't want to give a really, really big, long, giant Sunday afternoon chat. I was hoping to catch a fish while I did this. It's kind of chilly, and I'm not going to stay out here after I get through, so I I thought I'd pick a rod and reel up and fish a little bit, since I don't get to do that too often anymore, and fish a little bit while I was talking. But another thing that happens this time of the year, and I've been reminded of it through some of your comments on our YouTube channel and our Facebook pages. Some of y'all, this is a really difficult time of the year. It's always difficult for me around holidays, because one of the things that we think about a tremendous amount around holidays is friends and family that we've lost. We think about the Christmases that maybe even last Christmas, we had family members with us then celebrating and rejoicing with us that are not here now. Maybe a couple years back or 3 or 4 years back. Many times, families lose members right here around Christmas time. It happens every single day. And then when that Christmas rolls back around, it's a more difficult time. And I know that I have just a tremendous amount of difficulty Father's Day at church, Mother's Day at church, because the memory and the thoughts just overflood me about my mom and dad. And I lost both of them a long time ago. My dad died in 1990. My mom was only 58 years old when she died. My dad was 68. But Mom died back before that, before Dad, several years before Dad died. But when Mother's Day and Father's Day, it seems like your mind is just flooded with memories. And Christmas, all of the holidays, seems like that you miss those that have gone on before you. But I was thinking about that one time this week, how difficult it is. I read a post from Helen about losing her husband. And I'd read a couple more posts that day about people talking about this would be the first Christmas or second Christmas that they celebrated without one of their loved ones. But I got to thinking, think about this a minute. What kind of a Christmas party do they have in heaven? Oh my gosh. God has got to be throwing a really big birthday party for his son, Jesus. His son that was the perfect son, his son that was so obedient, he came to earth to save the world. Oh my goodness, what kind of a Christmas party they might have at that. And one of the things that happens around Christmas time is they have all these big events all around the country, and Christmas and New Year's, and these real popular singers like my buddy Toby Keith and Blake Shelton, I saw where Blake and was doing some big Christmas special, and so they're performing around in these holiday times of the year. But just think who's performing in heaven. Think about that for a minute. There might be Elvis Presley might be singing Silent Night in heaven on Jesus' birthday. Think about that for a minute. Can you think about what kind of a choir the Gaither family choir is up in heaven? Can you think what kind of a choir, all the people that have been in that Gaither family choir for all these years that have gone on to be with God, and they're up there in that Gaither family choir right now? Can you think of just what might be in that? Just start thinking of names, and you could just think of name after name after name after name that is singing songs of praise to Jesus on his birthday. And so when you think about your family members that you've lost, just think about the kind of Christmas that they're having in heaven in the giant birthday party of Jesus Christ. And something else I bet they're thinking about. They just can't wait. They just can't wait for you to get there. And they don't know your time either, even though they're in heaven. I don't think that God shared that with them that day that he's going to call us home. So they don't know either, but they're thinking, golly, I wish Jimmy could be here. I wish Chris could be here. I wish Linda could be here. I wish Helen could be here. I wish Johnny could be here. Well, we will. But they got to be having a fantastic, fantastic Christmas in heaven. And I've never thought about that, but it just popped into my mind, and I thought, my gosh, what kind of a Christmas party does God throw for his son, Jesus Christ? Y'all go out there and have you a great week this week. When somebody says happy holidays, you just give your biggest old giant Jesus Christ smile and say, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. And those stores that don't really acknowledge Jesus Christ, you might spend a little less money there than you do at the stores that do, I guess. But couple of those stores he mentioned, I shop at a lot myself. So anyway, but it's a great time of the year. 2 weeks away from celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. What an incredibly wonderful time of the year it is. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one this week. And remember, I sure do love you.